Genre, biography. Words for change. Essential question. How can words lead to change? Read how Elizabeth Cady Stanton's words helped bring about change for women. The early years. In 1827, when Elizabeth Cady Stanton was 11, her father said, "Oh, my daughter, I wish you were a boy." Elizabeth was shattered. From that time on, she became determined to prove to her father and the whole world that women, and all people, deserve equal treatment. Elizabeth's father was a lawyer, judge, and congressman. She would listen eagerly when a woman would come see him for legal advice. But she was often disappointed. Her father could not help them because women did not have the same rights as men did under the law. Married women could not own property or vote. Elizabeth said, "The tears and complaints of the women who came to my father for legal advice touched my heart and early drew my attention to the injustice and cruelty of the laws." Elizabeth began drawing lines through all the laws she opposed in her father's law books. She planned to take a pair of scissors and cut these pages out. Her father had a better idea. He told her that when she was grown up, she must get lawmakers to pass new laws. Then the unfair laws would perish and disappear. Women's lives would be changed. Elizabeth Cady Stanton and her daughter. Suffragettes March in a parade in New York City. Working for change. Elizabeth was as passionate about the rights of African Americans as she was about those of women. At that time, the country was divided in two by the issue of slavery. While working for reform, she met her husband, the abolitionist Henry Stanton. They were married in 1840. Elizabeth refused to use the traditional words "promise to obey" in her wedding vows. The Seneca Falls Convention. Elizabeth tried to settle into the role of wife and mother. But she wanted to be an activist and work for change. She took her father's advice and wrote a proclamation. It was called the Declaration of Rights and Sentiments. Modeled after the Declaration of Independence, it stated that women should be able to vote and have the same rights as men. She presented this document in 1848 at America's first Women's Rights Convention in Seneca Falls, New York. Elizabeth and her friend Lucretia Mott organized this important event. In her address at the convention, Elizabeth said, "Because women do feel themselves deprived of their most sacred rights, we insist that they have immediate admission to all the rights and privileges which belong to them as citizens of the United States." List of attendees at the convention. A winning team. 3 years later, Elizabeth met Susan B. Anthony. Together, the two made an unstoppable team. Elizabeth was a passionate speaker and writer. Anthony was a gifted leader and organizer. In 1869, they formed the National Woman Suffrage Association. This group was dedicated to helping women gain the right to vote. Congress showed no haste or hurry to change the law. Elizabeth toured the country. She spoke about reforms for women and a women's right to vote. She did not care if her speeches caused tension and made some people angry. She believed in her cause. Victory at last. Elizabeth Cady Stanton never got to cast a vote before she died on October 26, 1902. Yet her bold words had a lasting impact. Women finally gained the right to vote on August 18, 1920, when the 19th Amendment was ratified. Elizabeth Cady Stanton's passion for equal rights paved the way for future women's lives to be changed forever. Susan B. Anthony, and Elizabeth Cady Stanton.